Well, it's 29 minutes to go before the top of 7 o'clock. If you've just joined us this morning, welcome to it. It is a South African morning, the weekend edition with myself, Faith Mangope, as well as William Lehong. We've got lots of stories to get by, but let's continue with this one because a local cannabis entrepreneur, Heidene Lawrence, turned to the herb to fight epilepsy and found a condition improved. Motivated by the results, she started Tabbys Kitchen, which is a small business to help others suffering from chronic pain. So during National Epilepsy Week, Lawrence emphasized the herb's effectiveness in alleviating the symptoms of epilepsy. For more on this, of course, she joins us together with her son Dillan via Zoom. Thank you so much, Dillan, as well as you, Heidene, for joining us this morning. A very good morning. But Heidene, let's talk a little bit about this. You know, epilepsy is something that, and oftentimes, as much as we try to put the awareness out there of epilepsy, but sometimes we seem to be struggling when it comes to the stigma, how it works, the medical condition, and the like. But this also motivated you to actually open up Tabbys Kitchen. So let's talk a little bit about it.
Good morning, Faith. Thanks for having us here. And welcome to all the viewers on this cold winter's morning. So, the thing is, a lot of people don't understand, firstly, what epilepsy is. You know, everybody thinks that epilepsy is just falling down on the floor and having a seizure. What they don't know is that there's lots of different types of seizures, and that's the place to start from, you know. And a lot of awareness needs to be brought to that as well. So the thing that took me to using cannabis was I had a stage where I was having like 20 seizures a day, and there was no other solution for me because medication just wasn't working. So with the result, I needed to start using something else, and that's why I turned to cannabis. And that was what started helping me find a different alternative.
Yeah, you know, as you're speaking about 20 seizures a day, I cannot even imagine somebody going through that and how debilitating that must actually feel. Very powerless, I can imagine. But Dillan, just bring us into it around just the founding of Tabbys Kitchen and your involvement as well.
So yeah, just like my mom mentioned, she was at hospital, in and out of hospital for about 3 years. She got a set of meds that she needed to take from there on out. And then myself and my uncle, actually, we came across a video on social media somewhere about how cannabis is helping epilepsy patients. And that's where we then recommended her try it, because from that point on, we were open to try anything else. So yeah, from trying the fika oil to the normal CBD oils that you use under your tongue, my mom she started getting better, slowly but surely, and then it blossomed from there, because you know, with the stigma around cannabis and the high associated with actual THC, we had to sort of work around that because she wasn't really too comfortable with getting high. And that's how we found out about CBD, and from there experimented, found different ways to ingest it, and that's where the business was born. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it came about.
It's, as I said, it's something that is born from experience as well. But a lot of doctors as well, Heidene, will be listening to this and thinking, but hang on a second, epilepsy is also something that affects your neurons, right? So it's a very much, you know, the electro connectivity of the brain. Very, you know, and simplistically put, really, it is what happens with the connections in your brain. And there would be some people that would be worried about the impact that cannabis would have on the very same connectivity in the brain, saying, ooh, if I take this, will it not affect the way that my brain functions, or the optimal level at which my brain functions, or even the connections within my brain or the neurons within my brain? How do you then respond to that?
That's a very valid question, Faith. You know, everybody's system is different, okay? And everybody has a natural endocannabinoid system which aligns with cannabis. So in my situation, it was completely different, you know, and there's this ruling that you are only supposed to use 600 milligrams of cannabis a day in 20 milligrams a shot at a time. In my situation, that was completely different. I simply couldn't, once I realized that cannabis worked for me, 600 milligrams a day was not sufficient. And I don't know how or where they came up with that ruling, And that's why we started the business based on microdosing, okay? Because 600 milligrams was not sufficient for me. When I started using cannabis, that completely changed for me. So I needed to drink 5 to 7 cups of tea a day. I needed to cook with it on a consistent basis to make sure that I was microdosing. And with the result, over a significant period of time, I didn't have seizures anymore. Well, not completely. I still have, 5 to 7 seizures a month, and depending on what the situation is. But depending on who it is that you are and in alignment with information that you get from your doctor, I would always say to people, do not leave your medication, discuss it with your doctor, but 600 milligrams for people who are really, really, really in need of it, exceptionally in need of it, is simply not enough. So I don't know where that assumption was made, on which trial it was based, but it simply isn't sufficient. That's in my opinion, and that needs to be given serious thought. And a lot of doctors have fought this fight before, so that needs to change.
Yeah. So, in essence, what we would be saying is that we're advocating for the medicinal utilization of marijuana, especially when it comes to fighting chronic pain. However, make sure that your doctor understands your body so that they are able then to give you the right dosage for you, lest something happens and there is obviously an adverse effect, which we're trying to actually prevent in the long run, if I'm understanding this correctly. I think you just both had load shedding there for a second, but yeah, it is what we're getting.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to stay, and make sure you get medical treatment at the same time. I would never advise anybody to leave their medication. I still take my medication. And the other thing is, when we start talking about unemployment in this country, there are more than 1,000 doctors currently unemployed in South Africa. Currently, there's more than 1,000 doctors unemployed, and those doctors can be given those jobs to start doing the research, to start seeing patients in critical care that are in critical, pain, in the cancer situation, in epilepsy, in the arthritis, people who have arthritis. Those doctors can be employed in such situations to start seeing patients, and start assisting those individuals.
Yeah.
So it's not as if strangers need to do it, and government can get involved in them and not necessarily get doctors from the international market to do it. We have the resources in this beautiful country.
I definitely hear you, Heidene. I have to leave it here, unfortunately, for this morning, but I really do appreciate yourself, Dillan, and as well as Heidene Lawrence, just for having Tabbys Kitchen open up. And of course, we're talking here about the effectiveness of medicinal marijuana, that's what we said, to fight chronic pain.